Hello, how are we doing today? Let me do my checks and I'll be with you in a moment. We're going to have a great podcast tonight, but we always have to make sure that everything is working properly. So let me go ahead and fix that and we'll be good to go. So just give me a moment. Got to do all of my craziness. I hope you had a very good week this week. The weather's warming up and we're going to be good. So, and I think I'm in the house. I am here. So I hope everybody is seeing me good and they have a good image and make sure the sound quality is great. Let me know if you can hear me. Good week this week. Excellent. It sounds wonderful. Sounds wonderful. And we are in the future. So we have a great podcast we're doing today. And what are we going over today? As you know, I'm Len David Livesey. I'm your full spectrum Gnostic. I'm here on Tuesdays and on Wednesdays. And today, this is the Encounter Show, where we talk about a little bit of everything. And then on Wednesdays, we talk about the metaphysical. But today, we're talking about the coming golden age of mankind. Now, you might say, now, Lynn, how can you say the coming golden age? You're always talking so negative and so depressing and the end of the world and this and that. Remember, the glass is half full or half empty. It depends on how you see it. So this is what we're going over today. Because I told you, no one could see the future because of all the stuff that was going on and all the dark clouds that was in front of us. But slowly the dark clouds been lifted and we can now start to see what is in front of us. Now, remember, the road that we on does not exist. We're going to turn. And but we're starting to see around the bend as we're slowly starting to make that turn. But before we get too excited about our turn, let's talk about those few dark clouds that are still out there that might destroy our turning and being able to reach what's behind me. Okay, we still have a lot of people in the world that still wants to try to start a war between Israel and Iran. That would destroy everything, damage everything if that come about. Another war that people is trying to have is after Trump, they're still trying to start trouble with China, because China is quickly taking over the world. And that's the podcast we're going to have already. But anyway, some people want to try to stop that before it's too late, because China is going to take over the world and have basically already taken over the world if something is not done to stop that. And we might militarily try to stop that. And that is a big dark cloud. And the same problem with Russia and China together. If we can clear those hurdles about not going to war, and those people that is itching us to go to war and how much money we can make and how many billions we can make, and by getting rid of the large part of the population, if we can talk those people down like we did the last few years, we can reach what's behind me, which I'm calling the golden age of mankind. But this is not the true golden age, because a lot of people have a future for us. If you believe in the Bible, you want us to head towards that 1,000-year reign of Christ. If you're believe in alien intervention, you want us to be heading towards that future where the aliens come and we join forces and we rule as one. There's another future out there that we don't talk that much about. It's the one about the New World Order. And the New World Order has its future that it is quickly working on. And if we can keep these other futures and keep the alien problem contained and keep World War III contained, we will head towards the future of the New World Order. Okay. And that is what the picture is about that's behind me. What the creation of the mega cities. And that is their goal by the year 2100, is to have the first of the mega cities up and running. Okay. Now, why do they want now? You might say, Lynn, where you get this thing about mega city? See, this is a part of what you keep hearing about Agenda 21. We talked a little bit about that, but a lot of Agenda 21 have already went sideways and whatever, but they're looking way beyond Agenda 21. And some people in Agenda 21 wants to get rid of a large portion of the population of this planet. But they have a problem, which the New World Order have always have a problem. They've been trying to get rid of their useless population for over a 1,000 years, because they never wanted the population to get above 1 billion and 1.5 billion. So with World War I, World War II, they've always had these plans, but even though population would make a dip, it would quickly go back. And the reason is because they're making too much money on us to kill us. And as long as they're getting filthy rich, they will never get rid of us. And I believe the way things are going right now, they're making so much money. They're not going to get rid of anybody on this planet. Okay. Because as long as, the analogy is, I always talk analogies when you're talking Gnostic stuff. That big cattle rancher is always bitching and complaining about how much hassle the cattle is, and the herd is getting too big, and they're destructive, and they're this and that, and they knocked this down, and he had to buy so many hundreds of pounds of hay, and he had to do this and he had to do that, and he's tired, and it's too much work, and next year he's going to cut the herd down, and he's bitching and complaining all year until he gets that check once he takes the herd to slaughter. Then he decide, maybe I'm going to have even more cattle next year than this year. Okay. Because it's all about the size of the check. And the rich have never had it so good as they have it now. Okay. Is what the New York Times call the billionaires plutonians, because they keep how they live off of TV. We don't know anything about the Onassas, the Rockefellers, the Kennedys, anything. We can't even imagine the way the rich lives, and they don't want us to. Okay. Because we think we have no fathomable idea of how these people live. And we get a glimpse of sometimes, like when Romney was running for president and other people, we got a glimpse of their life and whatever. And one thing that they kept doing when John McCain was running, they kept asking John McCain how many houses he has. And he didn't know. He kept saying, I have 8, maybe I have 12. He just didn't know. And some of these houses are so huge that these people have. And these are just politicians. This is not even the super filthy rich. But some of these new mansions that they've been building the last decade or two, the new thing that all of the mega houses have in them now are elevators. Because when you build a house with 20, 30 bedrooms and this and that, and covering, 10,000 square feet and whatever, just to walk to your car is a hassle, because you're living at one end of this place that's 3-4 stories tall, and you got to go all the way down to your carport. So a lot of these new houses, they have these auto lifts where you can raise your car up to your living room. Okay. And they're doing all kind of stuff we don't even know about. And they got, we have no imagination how these people live. They don't want us to know. We see pictures of Davos and everything. They never show us some of the big houses or their yachts they have. Some of these people have yachts that is almost half the size of cruise ships. Okay. We see nothing. They don't want us to know how they live. And this is why in these cities of the future, you're going to have these giant mega buildings that's going to be 300 and 400 stories tall. Because the mega rich is going to be way up in the clouds. Okay. And the poorer you are, the closer you live to the ground. Because on the ground, it's going to still be kind of bad. So this golden age basically is going to depend on how much money you make in your position in society. And if you're doing great and living in one of those towers, I'm going to take a diversion. Okay. Because they already made the first one of these tower buildings that they're testing out. The first one was built in Baghdad. Okay. Baghdad is a very bad city, especially after we destroyed it and rebuilt it. So in Baghdad, the rich is unsafe to go around in Baghdad now. So they made this giant building. This building covered like 20 blocks. This building, you eat in the building, you sleep in the building, you go to school in the building, you go shopping in the building, there's grocery store. You never leave the building. You see what I'm saying? And this is what these mega buildings that they're going to have in the future is going to be about, the same thing. The rich will never have to leave because in those buildings, they got parks, they got this, they got swimming pools, jacuzzis, they got everything you can imagine is inside the building. And these buildings are already starting to go up. No, they're not hundreds of stories tall right now, but they're working out the details about this stuff. And as I said, they have some of these buildings not only in Baghdad, they have some of them in several other cities too, like in Abu Dhabi and whatever, where the mega rich live in these buildings where they never basically have to leave the building. Everything they ever want, ever desire is in the safety and security of that building. Okay. And this is the golden age for them. For us, it just depends on what your place is in society. Now, for a lot of us, even though we're not going to be too high up, a lot of us will still think it's the golden age because in these mega cities, now, Alex Jones and people talk about how they're going to force all of us to move into these cities and force this and that and do this and that. And they're not going to let you build homes in the countryside and they're going to force everybody to move into the city. Okay. They don't have to force you. The only thing they're doing, which we already tested all over the world, this is what the test's been done in Mexico City. The test's been done in Seoul, South Korea. The test's been done in Shanghai, in China. If you live in Seoul, South Korea, those other places, you have internet speeds which you can never imagine. We have the same thing in Tokyo. You have everything. You got this, you got that, you got convenience, you got everything you want 24 hours a day, night and day, every convenience, all the restaurants, all the stores, everything. If you live outside, 50 miles outside of Tokyo, there's nothing. That's the reason in Japan right now they're having a big problem where they got all of these very large, expensive homes outside the city, and they're sitting abandoned. Because no one wants to live outside of Tokyo. Outside of Tokyo? Everyone wants to live inside the city. Because out there in those big, beautiful homes in the suburbs, you don't have the cable, you don't have the internet connections, you don't have this, you don't have the convenience, you don't have that. And this is what young people want. They strive on all of that convenience. This is what is going on in Mexico. All the population is moving to Mexico City and all the other large cities. This is what's going on in Nigeria. This is what in Seoul, South Korea, basically 60% of all the people that live in Seoul and in South Korea live in the capital of Seoul. If you go 100 miles outside of Seoul, there's nothing there. And in America now, a lot of small towns are emptying out. It's not that they're forcing people to leave, but if you live in those towns, you have nothing. Now you have some people out there who is trying to buck the system. And you got to give them an E for effort. This is what Tesla's trying to do. Tesla's trying to make these little tiny satellites. They've already launched several hundred of them, where you can live anywhere in the world and get internet access. And you can do this. And that is his dream, where you can live anywhere and have modern society. But this is not what the big corporations want. And this is why, which they're telling you, if you want 5G, if you live, you can't live in the countryside. You can't live 50 miles outside of town and have 5G. If you want 5G, and wait until 6G and all this other stuff come in, because it takes so much energy and the bandwidth is so wide, the signal doesn't reach out too far. So inside the mega cities, you're going to have everything. Okay. Just right now, you'll be able, in some of these places, and the new test bed of a lot of this stuff, which we call today science fiction, you can now see in some of the new Chinese cities. Okay. Where you walk into a store and everything about you is stored in your cell phone. Okay, your cell phone carries your identification, this and that. When you walk in a store, it announces your name. Good morning, Mr. Livesey. How you doing today? Okay, when you go to pay, everything is done. You don't carry cash. You don't do anything. And, that is your passport to do everything. They have grocery stores now that you don't basically do nothing. In China, you can catch the trains, you can do everything. You don't need cash. You just show yourself, or you do your iris, and that's it. And they talk about how wonderful it is and how convenient it is and this and that. And unless someone steals your eyeball or this or that, is wonderful. But the glass is half full and half empty. This stuff is quickly coming our way. I just got a new cell phone a week or two ago, and T-Mobile was trying to give me a free, since I was getting a new phone, I qualified to get a new watch. They was going to give it to me for free. I just had to pay the $10 monthly fee on the watch, and the watch had its own telephone number. The watch I could wear it at night. It would monitor my sleep and tell me how good I slept or not. It would, even if I'm jogging, it would tell me my position at all times. If I started having a heart attack or something, the watch would call 911. The watch knows everything. You get what I'm saying? I could monitor my entire health of my body through my watch. I could watch TV through my watch. And the guy was saying he don't even use his cell phone that much anymore because he does everything with his watch. And he basically wears his watch 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's wonderful. But they know where you are. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They know when you're asleep, how you're sleeping, if you're drinking, if you're smoking, if you're this, if you're that. That's how wonderful it is. You get what I'm talking about? They know everything about you. You are no longer, you're just a cog in the system. And they're tracking everything you do. And I started talking to the guy about that, and he started joking because once you start going into a certain type of stores, you start going to like Lowe's and Home Depot and go those stores a few times, then you start getting coupons on your phone about things and advertisements. Their phones know everything you're doing. It's paradise. It's wonderful. It's also scary as hell. Okay. This is what these people from the future keep telling us. How great and how wonderful the future is is better than any science fiction movie you could ever imagine. But there's always a but. They say you have no privacy. Okay. No privacy. What does that mean? You're not sneaking off to do nothing. You're not telling the boss, oh, I got a headache. I'm not coming to work today. He can type in the system and say, no, you don't have a headache. You're doing okay. All your vitals look very wonderful. You're not. Okay. You see what I'm saying? Everything you're doing. Some of these new, before we was working at home remotely. Now, some companies, instead of you working at home remotely, now they want you to be on the screen all day, every day. That's worse than sitting in the office with a boss. I don't want to sit at home with a camera watching me and my boss and my supervisor watching me. Lynn, what you doing? How come you're not doing that? Lynn, okay. I don't want, oh my gosh. And everything we're doing now is smart. And we're heading towards that future. Well, they know everything, like these smart refrigerators and everything. They keep track of everything you're buying. And if you start buying a lot of a certain item, then you start getting coupons for that item. Okay. They know everything about you. It's wonderful. Your refrigerator even tells you, hey, the milk is going bad. You need to buy more milk, this and that. Here's a coupon. Okay, it's wonderful. It's great. It's also a nightmare come true. Okay. You see what I'm saying? The glass is half full and half empty. And this is what these paranoid people try to tell us about in this police state that we're going to. Because in the future, everything if they're looking for Lynn Davidivsky or want to know what Lynn is doing or this or that or whatever, they just type a few keystrokes and, everything I do. This is why when they arrest people before, when there was a shooting or something, it took a few days before they knew about the person. Today, if you do anything, if you shoot somebody or do this or that, they got all your Facebook posts, everything. An hour later, everything about you, where you lived, all work. They're talking to all your ex-girlfriends, your this or that, all of your neighbors. Oh my gosh. That is the glorious future we're heading towards. Is the glass is half full, half empty. Now, as my dad always says, Lynn, if you're not doing anything, you don't have nothing to worry about. You only have to worry about it if you're doing illegal stuff, if you're doing things you're not supposed to be doing. Then you need to worry. But if you're a good person and don't do bad things, you don't have nothing to worry about. That's right. Because if I want to go and drink a beer or do this or that or take a day off work and go to the island or whatever, I guess that's being a bad person. Okay. You understand? This is why they want to get rid of money. Because money, when you get paid and you have cash, they gave you $1,200, $1,500, $2,000. And 2 weeks later, you're broke. Where did all that money go? What did you do with it? That's why they want to go to this digital currency, digital everything. They want to know where every penny of your money is. That's why they love debit cards. Debit cards tell them, people that say, oh, I don't carry cash, I use my debit card for everything. They know everything you're doing in real time all day, everything you buy. And then that comes up with these patterns about what kind of person you are, what is your norm and unnorm and this and that. And that's the reason you get those alerts on your credit cards. Because if you're always eating at Denny's and place like that and not going to Burger King and whatever, and then all of a sudden you're over there at Red Lobster, and they're gonna say, hey, you might get one of those alerts on your credit card. Did you just eat at Red Lobster? That's not you. You never go any expensive places. Is that you at Ruth Chris Steakhouse? Okay, that can't be you. Somebody must have stolen your credit card. Because you never eat over $15. And now you're over there ordering $50 steaks. That can't be you. Okay. But that's none of their damn business. It's your money. You have the right to do what you want to do with your money. Okay. Maybe you have the right. Okay. Maybe this is going to be beautiful. This world of the New World Order. And these cities, everything is going to be controlled. Everything is going to be managed. And what they're going to try to do, as I said, before the turn of the century, is start pushing humanity, which they've been doing already. Because the goal is to clear the countryside, start clearing areas. And why they want to do that? Because it's something we don't understand, and there's something that they're upset about upstairs that we need to fix. I don't care if God rules this world or the New World Order rule it or the aliens rule it. We're in violation on this planet. Okay. Because we was not given dominion of the earth. Man was given stewardship of the earth. It's a mistranslation. See, dominion means it's your property. You can do whatever in the hell you want to do with it. It's my damn thing. Okay. Dominion means you are legally responsible. We was given to earth. We was given, not dominion, stewardship. When you're giving stewardship of something, not dominion. Dominion means it's your property. But we was given stewardship over the earth. That means we are legally responsible for this planet. And remember, God gave us a paradise planet. So we could even go even deeper into this. See, why we're in violation is because this is going to be mind-blowing. You might as well sit down before I tell you this. This planet belongs, 1/3 of this planet belongs to man. 1/3 of this planet belongs to the animals. And 1/3 of this planet belongs to Mother Nature. That's the reason all these movies about the future, everything, they started pushing man into the mega cities first. And once you form the mega cities, then you start putting the giant walls around the city and encasing the cities. That's going to be done later once the mega cities are formed. The reason why you put a giant wall around the cities later is because they want to keep mankind contained and confined, because we are very destructive. We cut down the rainforest, we do this and that, we pollute the rivers, we do everything. We see a beautiful valley and it's so beautiful. And it's, oh my God, I want to build a house here. Okay. You see what I'm saying? Oh, look at this view. You can see forever. Oh my gosh, this beautiful. I want to build a house here. I want to build an office building here. I want to build a church here. Okay. That's why man needs to be contained. So at first, they're going to push us in the cities and start pushing man together. And eventually, they're going to encase us in those mega cities with the giant walls. Okay. And that's what we're heading towards. But the first part of this plan is to form the mega cities. Now, Lynn, what is a mega city? A mega city is like you can go all over the world, like as I said, Seoul, South Korea, or LA. You know, LA is a mega city, but they got to get rid of those sprawling suburbs that just stretches out forever, because that is what makes running a city so expensive. Is when you get into those suburbs that just stretch forever and ever and ever. Perfect example of that is Houston. To drive across Houston can take you an hour, hour and a half, because the suburbs just go on forever. Driving between Dallas and Fort Worth, it's just, even though they're far apart, it's just constant concrete between one or the other. And it's happening all over the world, like South Florida and, you know, on the East Coast, everything. They're pushing us. And how they're going to push us is not by police state where they're going to be rounding up people and throwing us in the cities, is making it where only the goodies are located in certain places. And if you want the goodies, the 5G, the super this, the super that, the high-tech jobs, the high-tech pay, this, that, everything else, you got to come to daddy. Okay. And this is why so many people are leaving the countryside and moving towards the city. And this is going to dramatically pick up as technology increases. It's going to be to the point where if you live, out, 100 miles or 200 miles in the middle of nowhere, you're not going to have no modern conveniences. And for older people, they might say that's wonderful. But to your kids, they don't want that. They want all the goodies. So the young people are leaving. And this is why in places like Kansas and Iowa and whatever, they even are willing to give you free property, free this, free, if you're willing to move back over there. Because they got those little towns that's just full of old people. All the young people left. So, this is the future. And in these mega cities, as I said, it will be beautiful to live if you have, and it will be a dream come true, and it will be wonderful if you have the magic. If you're lacking that, like a lot of cities today, New York City, LA, everywhere. If you got money, you don't have to die to go to heaven. It's heaven there. If you don't have money and you're super poor and homeless, you don't have to die and go to hell. You're living in hell now. In all these cities today, you don't want to be homeless. In places like LA or, oh my gosh, or in Florida and whatever, if you don't have giant money, you're nothing. And the middle class is dying. And what we're having to do is we're going back to being serfs again, where we service people. And a lot of people that's the new boom jobs for younger people, where they're being delivery boys, but they not call it delivery boys anymore. You're working for this, you're working that. Instead of saying, I'm a driver, I'm a chauffeur, now you say, oh, I work for Lyft, or I work. See, it sounds better. You don't want to say, I'm a chauffeur, okay, right? I'm a driver. I'm driving this Daisy. No, I'm a Lyft driver and I work for Lyft. Okay, you get what I'm saying? I'm not a delivery boy. No, I work for one of the companies where you call and I deliver your groceries. Okay. It sounds better. Okay. I don't want to, you're not a clerk at a store. No, I work at a place where we order the stuff and I get it together and put it in the boxes and we deliver it. They just give it a new fancy name. You're doing the same old thing. Okay. The more the world changes, the more the world stays the same. And they've been promising us ever since the Industrial Revolution about with this change, how wonderful things are going to be. And yes, we're living a little bit better. Today we got refrigerators and flat screens and this and that and whatever. But a lot of people are also working 2 jobs, 3 jobs, going to school and working at the same time. Before the husband had to work. Now the husband worked, the wife worked, this and that. Before, in my generation, I'm not 100 years old, not yet. When I graduated from high school, I got out and got my own apartment, this and that. Young people today, the prices of things, I know people that, live in houses and they live in the house and their kids live in the house and and it's 2 or 3 generations living in a house now. You see one house with 15 cars parked outside. That is this glorious future we're heading towards. But the glass is half full and half empty. So this is what we're doing. And if you want to see the glimpse of how it's going to be in America, before America used to lead the world, now we're falling behind. That's what we met at China. If you want to see what the future is going to be, look towards China. Okay. China has trains that are going 300 miles an hour. They got this, they got that. You can do everything in China, but they're monitors. In all the buildings in China, people live in apartment blocks or they live in these very tight neighborhoods. There are people that work for the government. And if you're doing things and, and cursing and yelling and getting drunk or whatever, they report you. And then when you want to travel or go here, in China, you're supposed to have money and go wherever you want. You're supposed to be able to go to the train station and they're saying, how much is a ticket to this city? And they say, I'm sorry, sir. We can't sell you a ticket. Because they rate all of their citizens on a scale. Okay. It's like your credit score. The higher your scale, the more privileges you get to have. The lower your scale, you ain't going nowhere. You're not doing nothing. So when people's scale get low, there's things they can do to get their scale up. They can volunteer at the hospital, do this and that. They can start doing, you get what I'm talking about. Okay. We're not there yet. We're running behind. Okay. But this is the world. You have the freedom to do whatever you want to do, but they're watching. And this is the only difference between us and that movie and that book 1984. Even which I told you, which people still don't know. The problem with digital connections, the reason why I still have my old analog TV. I bought a new digital TV. It's been sitting in my closet for almost 6-8 months. I'm going to put it up eventually. But what they do, the problem with digital TVs, it's a 2-way connection. Analog is 1 way. And if you don't believe me, you can tap this in on YouTube. People can hack into your TV set. People can hack your microwave or your refrigerator. People can hack everything today. Okay. And they were showing, which they don't even like to talk about this anymore, where There are ways to hack into your TV set and people can see what's going into your house. People that have security systems, people can hack into your security system and they can see what's going on inside of your house. Okay. That's one thing people do about if you think your wife is fooling around or not. People implant, it's not the government planting spies, little tiny cameras and everywhere. People are putting tiny little cameras in things because they want to catch their wife or their husband fooling around. Okay. So they put tracking devices on their car. It's like it's James Bond. Okay. And people are putting these little trackers on their kids' devices and everything so they can be found. And you got that little rebellious 16-year-old girl and you okay. It's beautiful. It's wonderful, this future we're gonna have. Okay. It's not no trusting your wife. You won't where's she's supposed to have been home an hour ago. Okay. Oh, that's where she's at. Let me pull up a camera and see what she's doing. Okay, she's at the mall. Let me pull up the camera and see if she's there by herself. Oh, she's in the Olive Garden. Let me look on one of their cameras and see if I can see her in the restaurant or not. Okay. It's amazing what is going on out there. And give it a few more years. But of course, we're not doing anything. And it's going to be safe because like with wearing those watches, if you wearing one of those watches and you have a stroke or a heart attack, it's wonderful. You don't have to call the police or 911. They automatically come and get you. But what happens if you don't want to be found, if you want to get away, if you need some space to yourself? How do you do that? What do you do if you want to read a book or two that's not on the approved list? Okay. What happens if you have your little stash you got that you like to kick back and smoke a beanie or two? Okay. You know what I'm saying? Now, maybe it's not right. Maybe you shouldn't be doing that, whatever, but this is what we need to worry about in the future. The end of privacy. And this is what these people from the future keep warning us about. There is no privacy in the future. They know everything you're doing. Okay. And you always got to be leery of that. And I've been leery of that for several years. Since I do podcasts and write books and whatever, I always go by what I call the glass ceiling policy. I do not believe my telephone conversations are private. I do not believe my Facebook posts are private. I do not believe nothing I do is private unless I make it private. And that's the reason some people post everything they do on Facebook. I met this girl, I broke up with this girl, look at this, look at that. And what people don't know is that anything you post on social media, not just a pic on Facebook or Instagram or Snapchat, none of this stuff is ever deleted. It's there forever. Okay. Do you know that? And do you know even how bad it is? Do you know, before when I used to work for the big giant corporations, I used to go to work and I could, be copying things for a home and doing that. Do you know today, even scanners in your house or printers in your house, do you know that they make a micro image of every thing you've ever printed on your printer? Is saved inside your printer, a little thumbnail of everything it have ever printed. Did you know that? Do you know your printer prints the serial number on every copy it makes that you cannot see, but under special light, they can read the serial number in case you use your printer to try to print money or whatever. It prints the serial number on every copy it makes. And that is how they have caught one or two spies that was trying to, take government documents and make copies of them. That's how you get caught. There is so many things that they are doing that people don't know about, that I can't tell you. I already told you some things I shouldn't have told you already. Okay. But if people knew how bad it is, people would be paranoid at what they're doing. Okay. But it's going to be beautiful. This future we're heading towards is going to be really, really, really nice. Okay. The glass will be half full and half empty. Okay. So in this future world, our goal is to try to be towards the top. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of room at the top. And those giant buildings behind me, you see, for every one building shooting that way, there's hundreds of buildings down that way. So we got to do what we got to do to survive. And this is why today, a lot of people are breaking tradition. The old tradition was you went to school, you got out of school, you went to college, you got a job, you worked for 40 years and then 30 years and then you retired. A lot of companies, they go out in and out so fast. A lot of people, the majority of college graduates are not working in their major in 5 years. A lot of people get out of college and can't even find a job and end up being a waitress or doing this and that. So a lot of people today, young people today, they don't even want to go to college anymore. They just want to go to a trade school or this or that, or they're trying to make money non-traditionally, And maybe some of this stuff will work. Well, some of it did work, Gates and all these people that started all these crazy companies, most of them did not graduate from college, in case you didn't know that. All these Napster people, this and that, all these people. And most of these people are just people that started off things in their garage. This is what the .coms are all about and all these little startups. These are just, people that had an idea. That is what young people are doing today. It's not that you go and you get a degree and you work in engineering and then after 10, 20 years of working in engineering, maybe you can. They're skipping that. And a lot of these people don't make it, but some of them do. And some of these people are making fantastic money by selling on Amazon and selling this. And even me, I've been working non-traditional most of my life. I do a lot of things, but I also have my traditional jobs. And since my business got shut down because of the pandemic, I've been working regular, but now I'm going back to the way I was before. See, once you learn how to make money, once you learn how to, on jobs, they always want to threaten you. They always want to do this. They always want to control you. They want you to come in on Saturday, and they want you to do this. And a week or two ago, they had this meeting that everybody had to attend, and this and that and whatever. Once you learn how to make your own money, they can't threaten you anymore. And it's beautiful. You feel the freedom. Okay. So this is what we all need to do. Hopefully, we're not heading towards that future of World War III. We can sidestep that. Okay. Because if we head towards that future, that is not a good future. But even the people from the future is saying that we're heading towards World War III. The war is going to be super terrible. A lot of people are going to get killed. A lot of cities going to get destroyed. But everything will be quickly rebuilt because we're going to have help. That makes no sense. Okay. Help by whom? And at what price? There is no such thing as a free lunch. Okay. So if you don't destroy it, you don't have to rebuild it. Okay. And don't know if I want to live in one of these mega cities or not. But I lived in Houston for so many years. That was, oh my gosh. Okay. And all these cities today, Houston, LA, all these giant cities, Chicago, I was driving 100 miles a day. You drive like crazy. Everything is just, you got 50,000 freeways going every which way, this and that and everything else. And, every weekend there's so many shows and so many this and so much entertainment. And the coronavirus have stopped a lot of things. But in the last few weeks, people are starting to stick their head out again. And I have never seen so many people. I went to the island this weekend. There wasn't a mask in sight. The virus is on vacation over there. No one had on a mask. And everyone was like, hopefully you took your shot. Maybe that's why we're heading toward the third wave, the fourth wave. But mankind's going to do what we got to do. We have to survive. We just can't stay locked up in our houses, paranoid constantly. We've been under house arrest for over a year now. And I'm up to here. A lot of people are up to there. And I wasn't say I was social distancing over there, but at least I wasn't, they was like this and I tried to be maybe a foot or two away. It definitely wasn't 6 feet. But now you go anywhere, it's super crowded. It's super packed everywhere. And people want their goodies. And the businesses that did survive, the restaurants, everything is. So we are going to rebuild all the damage. And the economy is going to get back. We're going to get on our feet. Hopefully we'll be able to take our mask off very, very soon. Okay. And we can start doing some things again. But the future is not controlled by the New World Order. The future is not controlled by the aliens. The future is not controlled by a lot of things. They are trying to control our future. But the true thing that controls the future is me and you. As I tell people, we do not control the game. The only thing we control is if we want to play the game or not. And some games I want to play and some games I don't want to play. And that's why I left Houston. And that's the reason why a lot of people are leaving LA. No, I did not move into Midwest Texas or into the Arizonan desert or whatever, because I do want my few goodies too, but you got to find your little balance. Okay. And I do not, personally for me, I don't want to live in a place. That's the reason I told that guy I'm not interested in that watch. He said, but it's free. You can have it for free. We'll give it to you. And if you don't want to pay the $10, you can just wear the watch for 60 days. We won't even charge you. Let me send you the watch. You just wear it and see how you like. I said, no, I'm not interested. Just the thought of somebody tracking me 24 hours a day, sleeping in my watch, and when I wake up, my watch tells me if I slept good or not. Don't you know if you slept good or not? You need your watch to tell you that? Okay. The watch can even monitor your heartbeat and everything. And if you're breathing or snoring, your watch can. Oh my gosh, this. I decided I didn't want to go there. Okay. And once we went to the computer, we went to the phone, we're going to the watch, then we're going to go to the implant. That's what they talk about in these futuristic cartoons, where they be diving because they can just pull up the internet in their head because they got that chip implanted. Okay, and if they want to know how to get somewhere or do something, they just say the word or talk, and it's bad enough that I carry my phone every day. I'm not ready to wear the watch and then to go with the implant. That's how they're going to get us to get the implant. Because once you get that implant, everything you won't have to carry your phone. You won't have to carry your keys. You won't have to do everything. It'll be so damn convenient with that implant. You understand? You walk up to your car and your car says your name and open the door. You go to your house, the front door unlocks automatically. Damn, that implant sounds good. I want one now. I'm going to pause and write on that. So if you want this new world order future, it's going to be great. It's going to be beautiful. But the glass is half empty. One man's heaven is another man's hell. We will all have to decide our place in this new world that is coming into focus. And we're not talking 1,500 years from now. We're talking 2025, 2028, 2030. And especially, they're going to start super making these giant buildings when you get in 2045, 2060. The world as we know it, we won't even imagine it. It'll be just like going from the year 1900 to 1930, 1940, where New York City having horses to skyscrapers. Okay. I'm out of time. This gives you something to think about and something that you and your kids is going to have to face. But at least I'm letting you know what we're talking about. And yes, I'm not yelling and screaming like Alex Jones and saying it's the end of the world and it's demonic. I'm just letting you know peacefully and calmly what these people are planning to do. Okay. But they're going to keep us alive because they're making too much money on it. And as long as we're paying $100 for cable and $100 for internet and $100 for cell phone and $100 for this, $100 for that, they're making too much money on us to kill us. And now we got to get vaccines and booster shots and this and that and everything else. They can't afford to kill us. It's glorious. It's wonderful. I'm Lynn David Livesey, your full spectrum Gnostic. I look forward to seeing everyone next Tuesday on my Facebook page for encounters. And tomorrow I'll be on the Spirit Realm Network. And we're going over the secrets of the Hollow Earth tomorrow. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. With that, I'm out of here. Thank you so much. Bye.